Buying and flipping online businesses for a profit is still relatively new and somewhat unknown by those who aren't directly involved in this space. But what most people don't know is how accessible it actually is if you only knew what was involved. So by the end of this video, I'm going to try to make you an insider into this world. So my name is Nick and I work for Empire Flippers, which is an online business brokerage and a marketplace that helps people to sell and buy online businesses. And one thing I noticed is that even people who own online businesses aren't aware that they can actually sell their business or the best way of doing so. So if being an operator doesn't guarantee that you'll understand the market of flipping and selling businesses, then it's no surprise that people who aren't business owners don't know much about it either. So regardless of your level of experience, my goal in this video is to help you understand what actually goes into flipping online businesses and some quick numbers to help you understand how accessible and powerful this investment pathway could be. Now, there are 4 general phases of flipping an online business. So first is buying the business. Second is operating the business to sustain it or to grow the business further. Third is keeping the monthly profits. And then fourth is reselling the business when you want to exit. So first, let's talk about buying the business. Now, when buying a business and understanding if it's a good deal, you're pretty much trying to understand a few things. First is when you will make your money back. Second is how much more money you'll make on top of that. Next is how long it'll take to make that money, and then how likely is it that the business will perform as expected or even better. So first, let's talk about when you will make your money back. Now, the amount of time it'll take for you to make your money back depends on the business's valuation. So every business on our marketplace is valued using what's called a valuation multiple, which is suggested by our team of valuation specialists. And the multiple can tell you if the business performed exactly at its average monthly profit level, how many months it would take to make 100% return on your investment. So usually multiples sit between 30 to 50. So assuming the profit remains unchanged, if a business multiple is 36, it'd be 36 months or 3 years before seeing 100% return. And if it's at 48, it'd be 48 months or 4 years to see 100% return on your investment. So next, let's talk about how much more money you will make on top of your investment. So if the business grows during this time, it's important to understand that not only do you make more monthly profit, meaning it'll be a shorter time before you see 100% return on your investment, but once you decide to sell the business, that can be sold for potentially significantly more money. So to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, we featured a buyer named Sushi Nizudam who bought a YouTube channel off of the Empire Flippers marketplace that was making about $2,500 per month in profit at the time that she bought it. Now, given the average multiple that I mentioned before of 30 to 50, that business was likely valued at between $75,000 to $125,000 at the time of purchasing it. But in less than 10 months, by adding other revenue streams to the channel, Sushi was able to grow the business to making $25,000 per month in net profit. So not only was Sushi making $25,000 per month, which at that level she'd see 100% return on her investment in about 3 to 4 months, but if she decided to sell at that level of profit, maybe making $25,000 per month, that business would be worth between $750,000 to $1.25 million.
Oh, wow.
So let's say she built the business to that $25,000 per month level in the first year and then decided to wait 2 years to sell the business at that level. So those 2 years would have brought in $600,000. Then she'd exit the business for $750,000 to $1.25 million. Of course, it's so easy to play the hypothetical numbers game, but using this example is where people can usually see how a business flip can be a life-changing investment or at least a powerful addition to an investment portfolio. So this all sounds great in theory, but how common is this outcome for other businesses? And this is a fair question because not every business is going to do 10x in less than a year. Results, of course, vary significantly depending on the business. And understandably, what you want to know is how likely is it that this investment will work out? What's the track record? So the best way I could think to answer this is by looking at webstreet.co, which was previously known as Empire Flippers Capital, but has now branched off into its own company. Now, WebStreet allows investors to to invest a certain amount of money into a larger pool that will then be used to purchase multiple online businesses at the same business model on Empire Flippers. And then a highly experienced operator in that business model will run that business. So it's a completely passive experience for investors, but we also get to see how those businesses have performed after acquiring the business. Now, WebStreet is relatively new, having only been around for a couple of years, though it has raised $27 million and through that has acquired 40 businesses. And so far, the annual rate of return is estimated at 20%, which would mean a 100% return on investment within 5 years. And this is a little bit different, of course, from just buying your own online business, because a certain percentage of that return goes to the operators and a certain percentage also goes to WebStreet. So your results can vary, but hopefully this can give you an idea of the tangible results that we're seeing every day and every year. Now, to give you an idea of how much it can fluctuate though, during the e-commerce craze in 2020 and 2021, some businesses were growing at a rate where the buyers were on track to making their money back in a year of buying the business. So that wasn't only Sushi's story, but that was getting more and more common with Amazon FBA in particular during that time period. So fluctuations both against and in your favor are definitely common, and we've seen that over the past few years. And for full transparency, WebStreet does also point out that 1 out of 5 deals could eventually fail. So when you are evaluating online businesses as a potential investment, there are some general questions you'll want to ask yourself. The first is, how likely is it that this business will continue to operate at least at the same level or greater for the number of months that you need to see 100% of return on your investment? And then second is, how likely is it that you'll be able to easily sell the business once you want to flip it? Now, the due diligence that you perform on a business is more or less meant to answer those two questions. So another question that people may be wondering is, how does this compare to other asset types? Even if you have the cash to invest in other online businesses, you may be wondering if it's better to invest it somewhere else, like in real estate or crypto. So there are pros and cons, of course, to all investments. So let's do a little comparison. First, as I mentioned, real estate. In another video, I actually compared online businesses to real estate and in what scenarios they make better investments, or what role an online business can play in your portfolio of investments. And this largely depends on what you're looking at for an investment. For example, real estate is a physical asset and people need shelter, so it's seen as a safer investment by many. However, they're not always great cash flow assets if that's what you're looking for in an investment. Or if you're interested in flipping houses will likely cost you a lot of money, whereas you can potentially grow a business and flip it for profit by yourself, potentially at no cost if you're willing to do the work yourself. Next is crypto. So crypto is maybe an easier asset to compare online businesses to, because the major argument people make for why they don't get into online business acquisitions is because of the degree of risk and not having full control over the outcome. Well, of course, it probably goes without saying that investing in crypto has its own share of risks. Crypto is completely passive if you want it to be, but to the point where you have no control over whether it goes up or down, unless of course you are a whale buyer, in which case I probably don't need to be convincing you to buy an online business. Now, with an online business, economic factors can definitely impact your business. It can definitely fluctuate, as I mentioned before, but you also have influence over the trajectory of your business. You can add revenue streams, you can improve operations, make your own content, open marketing channels, launch new products. Now, online businesses are also cash flow assets, which usually isn't the case with crypto unless you are actively buying and selling. Now, if basing your decision purely based on the return on investment after a set number of years, you could compare that 20 to 30% return with online businesses to the expected return on investment with an asset class that you're interested in. Just make sure that you're also including the time frame that you see the return, as in when you get the cash in hand, and the risk associated with each asset type, and determine for yourself what makes sense for you as an investment. Now, if you aren't convinced yet with online businesses, but you just want to stay in the loop for now on this industry, feel free to sign up for our free newsletter, This Week in M&A. I'll leave a link in the description. And if you're into e-commerce businesses, this video here explains why it might be in your best interest to not overly rely on Amazon. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you next time.